how's it going? So, I thought I would do a video today on my Book of Shadows, because this is not the type of thing I usually see when it comes to people showing off their Book of Shadows. Most of the time, their handwriting is beautiful and everything is like perfect and has been thought out to the T, and that is not the case with my Book of Shadows. This is my Lazy Witch Book of Shadows. I am still kind of a newbie. This is kind of my witch-versary in the last like month or two. So I got this book pretty much right about the time that I started really seriously considering myself a witch, and also trying to learn more about like what it all means and everything. I kind of came to this realization that this is me, I guess, because I was kind of, there's a lot of little things that kind of happened. And so when I was back home hanging out with like my aunts and my husband's family and things, I had tarot cards. They know that I have tarot cards and oracle cards and all these other things, that I'm into oils and just all of these aesthetic-y kind of spiritual, like natural healing kind of stuff. And my aunt-in-law called me a witch. And I kind of was a little bit blown back at that time about it, because I was like, whoa, like what I'm doing is not that. But as the coming months came, I started seeing all these polls of like witch things coming up like in my feed, and when I would search for things, and when I was looking for more like herb recipes and other things like that. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to investigate this. I'm going to figure out, what it means to be a witch. And so I was kind of shocked when I looked at kind of, just like the wholeness of, what a witch means and all of those things. I didn't really mean for this to turn into like an origin story of witchy things, but I guess that's what this is too, in addition to my BOS, because it's just kind of how I got here, I guess. So as I started learning more about it, I started diving into like the history of witches and what it really means, and I found that I really identified with all of it. I was so blown away with feeling this like real excitement of, aha, that is what I have been looking for this entire time. This is the title, so per se, that I have been missing in my life and in my practice and in my description of like what I feel inside and what truly represents me, I guess, as a person. And learning that, I think there's this big stigma still to this day about what a witch is, that, you're a devil worshiper, that you're all of these weird things, and that's not the case. And, in all cases, I guess, because every witch is different, every practice is different, and I think that's what I love the most about it, is you don't have to fit in this box. You don't have to, you're not stuck into what you can do, what your practice can look like, what your principles need to be per se. It's very personal, and that's, I think, what I love the most about it. And so when I started looking for my BOS, I didn't know where to start. I was so confused, and everybody's books look so pretty and so custom and elaborate and gorgeous, and I found this at Barnes & Noble, and I was just getting into it, and I was like, I need a place where I can just write my notes, my thoughts, my intentions, the things that I was learning along the way, and that's, what your Book of Shadows is. And so I'm sharing this because I'm kind of trying to like make it maybe more openly acceptable that your BOS is messy. Because this is not a pretty book of shadows. I don't have the best handwriting, and anytime I have sat down to write in this, I have not necessarily been rushed, but I don't have like hours and hours to spend on each page. As much as I would love to be able to do that, that is not my life. I have little toddlers and I get interrupted every 5 seconds. So the 10 minutes, the 20 minutes sometimes that I have when they're napping or at school or anything like that, I take that time when I can to explore myself and just give myself the time that I need to study, write down things, reflect, and record all of those in here. And often, so I'm not really paying attention to how perfect my handwriting is, or, you know, I've given some thought, of course, to the things that I've put in here, and some of the order of things. I haven't even come close to filling up this book. As you can see, this is about how much I have written in it so far. There's some things in the beginning I wish I had sat down and recorded, but that's because I was still in the stage of thinking like, when I start writing, it has to be like the most perfect handwritten print, and so this is pretty much about how close my nice handwriting goes, is about these 2 pages, and that's about how long that lasted. And as I'm looking here, the first entry that I made in it was March 23rd of last year, which I know I got this back, I believe in February of last year, maybe a little earlier than that. So it was pretty much the beginning of the new year last year. And I held off of, So I held off in writing in it for a long time because of all of those videos that I saw of these beautiful BOS books, and I got to the point where I thought, okay, I just have to sit down and do it, and I need to just start writing, you know, regardless of how perfect it could end up looking. So I'm just going to super flip through really quickly. I have horrible spelling, but I made a commitment to myself that I wouldn't get down on myself about it, that I wouldn't, you know, look back at it and just like scold myself, I guess you could say, of like, oh, it could have been better, it could have been written better, you could have made sure that that was spelled right, you could have, you know, fact checked this, or, you know, I let some of my intuition and just some of my little workings and other things like that kind of shine through in this book. And so that's kind of what I have so far. I'll maybe pick a few pages like that will kind of, you know, like here I've got just some basic principle things about altars, and then I have this little scratch out here, and a lot of the little notations and things I've made are not entirely consistent nor perfect. I just kind of, a lot of it is a little bit scribbly and notebook-like. This is still kind of in the beginning when I was still trying to make it look a certain aesthetic. Like, as you can see, I really didn't write in it as much as I would have liked in the beginning, because we go from March to May to September to November. And so I've really only been writing in it very consistently since the new year started. I've made sure to at least make 1 entry a month, if not 2 or 3, and I'm getting better and better, but that's because I just finally gave myself, you know, the leeway to not have it be perfect. And of course I do want to create like a nicer book later on, you know, maybe like a family grimoire, and then maybe some type of other book of shadows. I'm working on like printable pages, because since I don't love my handwriting, I decided to record a lot of those things like via, you know, like typing in text and things like that. And I actually have an old typewriter of my grandmother's, so maybe I'll go about doing some typing and include those in my book of shadows or grimoire. So I'm hoping in the next couple years maybe I can put together something really beautiful like that. But for now, when I don't have the time and I don't know exactly what I want it to look like yet, I'm just giving myself some leeway and being gentle and not holding myself to comparing my book of shadows to other people's. And this video is more just to say, like, it's okay for it to not look pretty. It's okay for it to not be perfect. For you not to spend hours and hours on one page, because ultimately I feel like the most important thing is to get your thoughts out when you're going through it, so that you can look back and understand and remember the place that you were at and all of those things that were going on in your life, or all of that, I think intertwines to our practice and really helps us to gain perspective. Talking so fast, but where's my water? But so that was really, like, I think the purpose of this video is just, when I was starting out, it seems very unacceptable to be sloppy or lazy, and most of the time, like, that's what we kind of end up doing, don't we? I mean, I don't think we all do these elaborate, gorgeous rituals all of the time, because honestly we just don't have the time or sometimes the energy or want to do that all of the time. So it's really just to be like, yeah, this is real life, like, being in this, I don't know, community is super fun, but it's also not like a competition to be like who can be more witchy than somebody else, because at the end of the day, we're all just living our lives and everybody's life looks different, and it also doesn't have to be perfect all of the time. Sometimes we can be lazy, sometimes we can skip rituals, sometimes we can decide not to. Like, I don't personally celebrate all of the Sabbats. That's just where I'm at right now. Maybe my mindset will change on that later, and I'm sure it will. I've been doing a lot of goddess studies lately, and so I love the idea of the Sabbats, but I just don't personally at this time feel super connected to them yet, or if I even will, and that's okay. And that's what I love about the witch community, is how different everybody's practices and how different everything like that looks. So that is my book of shadows currently, and I hope to be able to update you guys again soon at some point with, maybe like a cooler printed grimoire type situation, but I do definitely plan on finishing this entire book out with, my thoughts, other things that I'm learning about, spells. I have a few spells in here that I have written myself, or intentions or intuitive, like magical recordings. And some of those are in my phone, so I haven't transferred all of those to here yet, because I do have like little scraps of paper when I've had just like, intuition or like the aha moment hit. So, yeah. I just thought that that would be something great to share, since that's not the kind of videos that are maybe the most popular. Maybe I'm just not seeing other people's like lazy witch book of shadows, so to speak. That could totally be the case. But let me know down in the comments below, do you have a perfect book of shadows / grimoire? How do you feel about like the book of shadows or grimoire in general? Have you been holding out on creating one because you've been scared for it not to be perfect? Holding out writing in your journals because you have been scared that it won't look aesthetically pleasing to the eye to be able to show the entire world and show off as this perfect, magnificent art piece? Or do you have a beautiful aesthetic, and like, how do you go about sitting down and dedicating your time to making those elaborate works of art in your book shadows or grimoire? Like, I would love to know maybe like what your process is for your book of shadows or grimoire situation, so that we can all like share and swap ideas, and yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope if you have been holding out on creating one or writing in one for fear of it not being perfect, that you will go ahead and do so, because your thoughts are fleeting and we don't always remember. I have a terrible memory, so it's really important for me to take pictures. I'm very visual, or write things down immediately. Otherwise, those thoughts are very fleeting for me, and it's not something that I tend to like just recall at the drop of a hat. I definitely have to have like a type of prompt or something of that nature. So I really thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you everyone for commenting on my last video for the birthday giveaway Scully. That will be ending soon in I think like 3 days or so. So make sure you just comment on that video. I have all the instructions in that. So you have a few more days left if you haven't seen it yet. So hop over to that. That was my last video. And I hope to see you guys again soon. And I'm planning on hopefully doing a live very soon as well. So I know I'm kind of few and far in between, but I do try to hop on here because I love interacting with you guys and talking with you guys and feeling just the love of the witchy community and everything. As like we all just share our experiences and support each other, and I just love that so much. So I will see you guys again soon. Bye!